January 12th, 2022. How are you doing, friends? Today, 2 years ago, something very big happened in the sky that mostly astrologers and astrologers' followers were taking account of it to understand that the world is about to change to something we haven't seen before. In January 12, 2020, Saturn and Pluto met in 22 degrees of Capricorn, an event that last time happened 517 years ago. The area where I'm now, South America, was pretty much discovered, and also the world has changed from the congestion in Europe, finding new lands. Saturn and Pluto met in 2020, and Wuhan showed us images of something that will end humanity. And few months after, when Jupiter and Pluto also met in Capricorn, we received the global lockdown and the stimulus checks and all what people thought to be a movie that may end at any moment soon, to come back the routine we were living for the last specifically 10 years, with smartphone, with easy technology to interact us with abusive way for relationship and resources. Today, 2 years after Saturn and Pluto met, we are getting hyperinflation, or just high inflation, that for the first time since 1982. Now, a naive person that just will take the numbers, okay, 82, wow, almost 40 years, yeah, well. But when you understand astrology and you are a bit more of researching history and cycle, you will rise. You will change your face. What happened in 81, 82? Yeah, it was a US recession, very heavy one. That the next to it was the 2007-8, and it's related to the Federal Reserve. And it's already free. I released the video for the Federal Reserve earlier than promised. It should be only for next week, in purpose that you all see. Indeed, it's not full video in YouTube, but you should check it through the trailer that I uploaded. It's in Telegram too. Check the links below. I scanned what we are repeating now and what this year to be from the Federal Reserve and the financial. It's Capricorn. Saturn and Pluto met in Capricorn 2 years ago, exactly. And it's like a miracle speaking today. I remember the call that I did with my astrologer friend in Israel in January 12, 2020, and saying, are you believing? It's happening. Actually, I'm opening the chart and saying, it's happening now. The world is about to change. Big time. Going to Argentina, looking from the balcony and saying, still nothing? Something is coming. And here we are 2 years after. Look at your life. Look in our world in 2 years. Would you believe that despite of all the measures and despite of all the blah, 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 what we are getting? Also in January 2020, Bitcoin was around the 5K. Now it's 45, almost let's say 50K. And the dollar? After all what they printed in 2020, after the crash and the lockdown, it's all part of the plan. So what happened in 82? I will arrive to this. As before, Let's see. The recession of 81, 82. This is economic downturn was triggered by tight monetary policy in an effort to fight mounting inflation. Repeating, prior to the 2007-9 recession, the 81-82 recession was the worst economic downturn in the United States since the Great Depression. Of course, very high unemployment and people losing their assets and lack of resources. What led to all this? We could find it in stories by opening the books, and we could find it through astrology. Imagine yourself an alien that, whatever the movie, whatever the actors, it should happen something like this because the astrology is the God script. So, do you remember what happened in this time parallel to the depression? It was a virus running and scaring everybody. And in the United States, now it's Omicron. Then it was AIDS, HIV. In 81, cases of a rare lung infection called pneumonitis, pneumonia. And it was mostly focused in California, Los Angeles, speaking about the gay men, all the stereotypes started big time. What actually led for the gay revolution after this, now we're speaking about trans and all the other genders. In June 82, a group of cases among gay men in Southern California suggested that the cause of the immune deficiency was sexual, and the syndrome was initially called gay-related immune deficiency. It's again immune deficiency, as they are speaking now. Where is the vaccine for the HIV in 1 year to save humanity? No, maybe gay men, maybe black men, maybe all those minorities. Use condoms was another sort of mask to another part of our body. Now we are covering the face. That's it. You are no identity. Women and men almost looks the same. Huh? 82. And today they are mentioning, today exactly, the sun in Capricorn is exactly on the south node where it was in 82. So it's reminding something from the past, and it's Plutonian, and it's related to sex and to deep disease and things of death. So in 40 years, this is not a real vaccine to protect people from HIV. Now, this is very common sort of PrEP and other sort of therapy. All the tyranny of the pharmaceutical industries needing to give solution to sell a lot of money for the relaxation mind of people. And it's always come to responsibility too. I want to show you what happened in sky in 82, 81, 82. Look at this. Maybe I will do it like this. So you could see, I could draw on it. Or not? Yeah. So Pluto and Jupiter met in Libra ruling to beauty, relationship, and now what we are having now, Venus retrograde on Pluto in Capricorn, which is 90 degrees to where we are now. And also in 82, Saturn and Pluto met. When Saturn and Pluto met, this is a change in the world, In this case, it was Venus cases, relationships, what about beauty, what about love, sort of separation, call it how you could relate it. But this was the 8th. And in January 2020, Saturn-Pluto conjunction 90 degrees from here in Capricorn, where the South Node was located. Imagine this, Saturn and Pluto needed almost from 82 to 2020, 40 years to reach this zone where the South Node was located. To get the COVID, another attack on the immune system, and now on all people. Everybody are restricted. Now, those that are not respecting the cure are rejected, like projection of illusion. This is the Neptune. Now, Neptune and Jupiter are in Pisces. This is the photography. It's all about negativity. Yeah? It seems like it's coming closer, but it's the opposite. It seems like the unvaxxed are the bad guys, but it's the exact opposite. It's all about the illusion. How it looks that it comes closer to you, but it's exactly going the opposite. Without even going too deep to this. Also, we had in 81, 82 that Uranus moved from Scorpio to Sagittarius. Freedom of sexuality. Scorpio, sexuality. Sagittarius, freedom. The freedom of sexuality disappeared. People started to have fear from sexual activity. Oh, it's all about. Yeah, people are dying from this. But the media was weak that time, 40 years ago. Not everybody had even TV in home. I remember myself asking my father about what is HIV that everybody are speaking about, in a very almost, I don't remember if it was even black and white TV in Israel. So this is a repetition now that is dropping us to a crisis, or at least memories, illusion from 82, when the AIDS was running and scaring the American people specifically, and California-wise with all those restrictions. So be careful from San Francisco, California zone, where all the high-tech companies and all the crazy real estate actually deriving from. Most of the companies in America that we are paying for and related and holding are sitting there. In sky, we are seeing with what happened 2 years ago, Saturn and Pluto conjunction in Capricorn is about to change the world and the structure and the finances. Even Patreon company that is helping with the structure to many creators is sitting in California. And Microsoft, Apple, so many. So it was AIDS, now it's Omicron, COVID. Also interesting to see how to compare between COVID to AIDS. In other words, between the Saturn-Pluto in Libra to Saturn-Pluto in Capricorn, 81, 82 to 2020, 2022. HIV attacks person immune system, rendering their bodies unable to fight off illness. Left untreated, a person with HIV can develop AIDS. This refers to a final phase of HIV infection where damage to the immune system is so severe that it results in an increasing number of opportunistic infection. When coronavirus disease that detected in 2019, and I'm not sure, I tried to find this video. I remember myself preparing, I was so alerted all 2019. I was preparing for the entire year for moving and to disconnect from whatever was attachment. And I remember in Spain, I one day drove between places because I started to disconnect from things there too, and I created a video from a mobile, and it was a very specific aspect that I saw in sky in March 2019, and I said, you may not see this, but something very, very bad. I even think about something like a virus that I said is coming to humanity. And I was considered like delusional. My YouTube channel barely arrived for 200 views a video. Spoke to my colleagues, like, you're speaking, you just wait. Yeah. But this is coronavirus disease 2019. Is an infection caused by a novel strain of coronavirus called severe acute respiratory syndrome. People with COVID can develop a mild to very severe respiratory illness, a number of other possible symptoms. Okay, we heard already about it. Interesting to learn a bit more about who like science, or the differentiation between the structure of them. But the most bomb thing that I want to share with you about the recession that actually started by 1980, because it all came. Like now we are seeing the 2019, the COVID started before even people could imagine that something is about to touch their life. It was felt strongly in 81. But look what happened in 1980. And before. You remember that with Trump in 2019, it was speaking a lot about restriction. The US was restricting, Iran was restricting, Turkey was restricting, Iraq. I don't know, it was so much restriction. Like the US is trying to stop the hands of different activities of other countries. And of course, it started some yellow vest, France, other things about the rise of prices. It was like something that began but wasn't basing on the case that we know today. In January, listen well, in January 1980, and it's January because it's Capricorn. And now Venus retrograde in Capricorn. And Mercury will start now retrograde to Capricorn. The US economy entered to a recession. At that time was the most significant since the Great Depression. But I want to show, one of the causes of the early 1980s recession was the Iranian Revolution of 1979. Boom, 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 boom. Now the dots are connecting. I'm telling and repeating for 3 years already how many videos I dedicated on Iran. Why I'm choosing Iran all the time. Iran has a big role, and what happened in 1980 with the Saturn Pluto, with all the relationship, it's Venus, agreement, and it was because of the oil price, which sparked a second large round of oil price increases. What's the price of oil today? 85. And this is a lot of derivatives that creates this monster liquid oil that is the engine of the US economy. And those are so much oil in the world. They are just restricted to connect with the rest. Venezuela is one of the richest countries that is out of the game, and their currency is zero. People are throwing it like a toilet paper. And more countries. And the Iraqi war, why started? Kuwait, all this. The United States wants oil. And now they are manipulating the price of oil through the digital activity. More important, however, when Federal Reserve Chairman Paul Volcker's efforts to tame inflation through restrictive monetary policy, which had the expected effect of dampening economic growth. The American economy experienced a modest recovery beginning in the summer of the 80s, but declined again from July 81 to November 82. November 82 was the exact conjunction of Saturn and Pluto, because they were retrograde and always like very close. But this is about resources. Venus already next month, and I said already in the World Weekly Astrology. I hope that many of you already saw the full video too. It's in Telegram and in other videos, also the public in Patreon. This month seems to be historic with the triggers that are about to happen, and the nodes, the north of the moon, north node, are changing. This is a critical moment, and where we are seeing this link of timing is huge. We cannot ignore it just because, another date. I'm not good with numbers. Go to the astrology even to see those cycles. So, of course, also in Canada today, in Quebec, they are speaking about the unvax going to pay extra tax. And I'm seeing here a gradual losing of monetary policy, stimulative effect of tax cut and defense spending increases. Blah, 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 blah. The economy, the Titanic is sinking. Simply. And I'm saying that also something very positive is about to come. This is about a revolution. The word revolution, an Iranian revolution. And since 2019, even the late 18, I was speaking about Iran. Iran will bring something good to the world, with something that will happen. Because Jupiter and Neptune will meet in 23 degrees of Pisces already this April. We are so close to this. And it will oppose the Neptune of the United States, which is related to oil. But this conjunction will happen exactly on Uranus. And maybe you forgot, but Iran already legitimized the Bitcoin currency to be a legal currency. And it's doing businesses with other countries that cannot be stopped, and with Russia. And in Iran, those are a lot of Bitcoin miners. And Iran is very close to China. Iran can change here the game into the favor of humanity, even that it was so difficult to understand it before. And I still don't understand the scenario and exactly what. I'm just telling you the bomb. Iran is just sort of separating between China and the United States, and something will come from there. And this is so much condemnation on Iran because of nuclear. Also, this nuclear may be a cause, I don't know in what reason or how, for green energy instead of oil. And Israel condemning Iran, the United States condemning Iran. And also in the chart of Israel, I'm seeing that after the United States is falling, and falling is also Italy fell, but it's continued to be on the same place in the map, and Italian continue to speak Italian. And when the Spanish fell, they continue to be in the same place of Spain, eating the same traditional Spanish food and speaking Spanish, but they are not empire anymore. America will continue America in the same place in habits and tradition, but will not control the world anymore with their currency. This is the difference. And now we have another technologies. And we are seeing here, and that's always what I said, we need to understand who is the real enemy. The Arabs are not the enemy of the Jews. And the Christians are not enemies of the Muslims. And we are not enemies of all those groups that we have done. This is something beyond it that is trying to separate us. Now everybody, doesn't matter what you believe or not, Jupiter is just about to move from the south node. We are under the same restrictions and craziness and takeover of human rights. It's all remain to connect with the resources and nature and what is ours. We are giving life to companies. We are giving life to, we decide which company or which business will succeed if we will stop or will continue buying from him. We all can fall Facebook tomorrow if we are going out from those accounts. I'm telling Uber driver here, show me your face before I'm entering, first of all. And, you know, this is another story. I don't want to share what I'm doing, but no mask needed because we decide, not just the application will say how to protect us. We need to decide, I will decide with who I'm going to take the ride. If you don't want to take me without mask, don't take me, go away. If you don't want to sell me nice shoes, if you have any shoes, without putting mask, I want to connect with who I'm buying from. We decide. We. Taking our power back. And now what remained is to think innovation, to think outside of the box by the technologies that are standing to us, start to connect with people that know already using technology. I'm even recommending now to people, that's what I've got, sort of a message, like take another simple computer, format it, and install Linux, open source operation system, and run your programs without Microsoft. That is taking so much from you. For comfort, it's always comfort. Leave many systems as you can. Just wanted to bring this piece of connection and historic day, anniversary day of the New World Order anniversary for 2020 with such news, with viruses on our face, on our above our mind, and from what actually is distracting us. Good news to all of us. 2022 can be confusing, and it just begun. Bye for now.